Yo, welcome back to Classic Quest, and we are here at episode 5. It's your boy HSR.
And your boy Chris Chrome.
And Bonnie.
Wait, who the fuck's Bonnie? Okay,
you guys know.
So this week, we decided to go in a very classic direction that's
Very
apparently acclaimed across the fucking board.
Yep.
Chris, would you do us the honors of introducing this week's album?
Well, Holden, this week's album is from a great artist, Nas, and it's called Illmatic.
That's it. It's Illmatic. That's the album we're doing.
Yep.
Came out April 19th, 1994. And to those paying attention, it's only one day before 420.
That was on purpose?
I don't know. I think it was probably just
I
the
think
choose.
that we find out that he does enjoy the marijuana.
He does. He has a fine affiliation with the chronic substance.
Mentions it maybe once, maybe twice, not sure.
Either way, he's signed to Columbia at this point, or the album's on Columbia. He makes some interesting waves in the industry, but before we talk about what happened there, Chris, tell me when you encountered Nas in your life.
Actually, I encountered Nas when he came out with I Know I Can. I remember watching that as a kid. I assume maybe I was like 10, 11 or something like that.
Fair enough.
I also bumped into some of the newer stuff with Damian Marley.
I heard that
I've
one.
actually heard the entire album they dropped, to be real.
They dropped the album?
Yeah, they dropped an album together a couple of years
that.
back. And got into Nas, it was like one or two bangers, and then I was like, where did you go? It
Honey?
was
Like last week.
So you did
about
not,
a week ago.
No, for real. I put on
Sure?
I Can, and she's like, I don't know what the fuck this is.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't know who these people are. Yeah, so.
Well, that was short. I also found Nas through the I Can song because I was just gotten into rap music, and that stuff is stuff you
It's
can
a
rap
good
in
song,
front of
you have to admit.
Yeah.
You can rap it in front of your mother, man. It's like,
And that's good. It kind of lets your parents like,
Yeah.
hey, look, rap is actually good. And then you're behind closed doors, you're like, no.
And then I actually got my hands on a copy of Stillmatic in high school. It's not Illmatic, Stillmatic. The one reason like a red jumpsuit on the front. It's like a decade later. That's a cool album, and I noticed Nas is a very lyrical dude. I liked a few songs off that album still to this day. It's the one with One Mic. One Mic is the banger of bangers. So like I kind of like Nas songs. It's the same thing with you. It's like the guy consistently was not releasing good music. And if you consider it, Jay-Z kind of ended up doing quite better than Nas. Although, I sincerely believe Ether is the better battle rap song to everyone out there. To you folks, Jay-Z and Nas beefed at one point, and Ether is ridiculous, and you both need to hear it. It's starts off with, fuck Jay-Z.
Well,
to the point.
we will check that out.
Illmatic, I had actually heard before. In fact, a few months ago. This was not a new album to me. I'd known about it my whole life, I suppose. You can't watch reviews or look at top 10 lists about hip-hop and not hear Illmatic.
True. I mean, I stumbled upon it a couple times, but actually being able to dive into it was really, really crazy.
I feel like you're really excited to dive into it, Chris.
I am. No, there's so much.
All right, let's do it.
it's-
Let's hear what you
Well,
think.
first off, what do you think of the album cover? We always got to start with that.
I was
Yeah.
going to start with the title, but okay, we can go with the cover.
We'll go. Okay, if I start with the title, then.
Okay,
that makes
Chris,
more sense.
what do you think of Illmatic?
I think that when I use ill, it means I'm like cool. I'm really skilled. I'm really like talented, right? You're really dope. But like it was just a powerful meaning. And then actually I found out that it was a dedication to his boy who was in prison at Illmatic Ice.
Really?
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, the whole.
Because I found a Nas quote where he's like, I don't really know, like, it's just like it's supposed to be like the ultimate form of ill in the sense of ill being cool and shit.
The weird thing is that I actually watched a video of him speaking like live, and he was like, "I'm dedicating this to my boy Illmatic Ice, who is currently in jail serving time." Nah, nah, nah. And I was like, "Damn, that was hard." That's some explaining to do.
I'm not
Uh-oh.
doubting it. Yeah, it's crazy how we found two different meanings. Either way, I just thought it was ill and Matic, and I was like, it has to be just the sickest shit. And
Nice play on words there, Holden.
I don't know. There's not really it is the pun I would make. It's kind of pretty in
Start
your
off-
face.
There's-
Okay,
you didn't
Chris,
feel
we've
anything
talked a
from it?
lot. Bonnie,
Yes.
how do you feel about the title?
Well, kind of like what you said. It
Okay,
is the
so-
ill, but in one of the songs he kind of mentions it, and I think sort of describes it. He says it's
No.
like static,
You have it?
and that it has
Unfortunately,
something
I
to do
don't.
with
No, time is Illmatic.
kinky hair.
Sorry.
Kinky hair?
He mentions it a couple of times on the album, I guess.
Nappy hair, I think. And
So,
I hope that's not racist.
What
Time
we-
is Illmatic, keep static, wool, like, keep static.
Because the wool, because I found out what that meant.
Yeah.
And the wool, he means it's a strong material and it comes from nature and it's part of them because
But
their
wool
hair is like
doesn't-
that.
Okay, so the cover.
Superimposes the city, like the hood.
Yeah, where he comes
like,
from, behind
on
his
his
But
face.
face.
like he was one of the ones to start that whole thing of put on album covers where you put the face of your child self.
And what's really funny is he was copying a picture, a famous drawing where it was the exact same thing. And so that's cool. I mean, I appreciated where he was coming from. This album is clearly a lot of a reflection of his reality
life,
and where
yeah.
he comes
Yeah,
from.
yeah.
So
It's
if
the
anything,
world that he saw as a child.
it's
It's looking through
possibly
his
one
eyes.
of the most fitting album covers to an album I've ever seen. One last little tidbit before we delve into the songs. This shit debuted at 12 on the Billboard 200. Now, there's a lot of classics people will tell you are classics, but rarely does a classic so universally back up the fact that it's a classic. The
And
way
not only that, but
Illmatic
it
does.
doesn't. We were having a discussion earlier. You said something about it not feeling dated, and I
Yeah,
feel
it
like
doesn't age.
it
Nah,
doesn't
it
age.
doesn't-
Everything
anyway,
he speaks
okay,
of
so now
then
we're
is
getting
still
in-
now. Like,
So let's talk about
Let's get into it.
Genesis.
Ain't no Nas, put the jacks, put the grass over there, you know what I'm saying? Cause we been in the Jacksons. You know how we get down, baby.
Nas, man. Shit is mad real right now. The project's for a nigga, yo. Word of mother.
Hey Chris, since nobody cares about us, Bonnie, why don't you start us off and talk about the album?
Well,
talk-
the very first song was Genesis, as you heard. I thought the title was very fitting as I listened more to the album because he does get a little bit religious. And so I thought that Genesis was a good title for first book of his album, kind of. So it kind of starts off with like this radio something or a TV something clip,
Right.
cool beat, and then you're just kind of listening to a bunch of friends like hanging out, kind of arguing, chit-chatting, and then there's a gun involved, and it's like the general shenanigans. Clearly a conversation that's normal and it's very urban, and you're kind of getting a glimpse into it,
Yeah,
and
it's,
it's between black people. That's definitely something that I feel like is made clear.
it was like you could just feel this energy building up as the song or intro skit went on, and it felt very fitting. Like it set a tone for what you were about to experience, and it just felt like a bunch of guys who were just there on the block as shit was happening around them. It made it abundantly clear where they were and who they were at the very
You can
beginning.
hear the train track and like the train
Like,
going over the noise of
They
that.
want you to know that they are from the fucking hood. They want you to know that you're from the depths, and just everything they're saying is little nuanced references to various things that are going on around them in a very legitimate kind of way.
with the intro, he depicts what the album's gonna be. I felt like every song, in a way, kind of started off with that same intro. It's like you had this image of that intro before every song, even as like it begun. Intro was
Kind of like
him and his friends, you know, like they
kinda
all
like-
gather together, which
it was like a good like movie kind of feel, honestly. Like,
exactly. But
Yeah.
I wanted to point that out. It's just funny how I noticed while doing the reviews over the last couple of podcasts, back then it was all about groups. It was about being with your squad, being with your team, you know, and working together. And I feel like somehow we've lost that today. The ones who do have groups now excel a lot quicker than...
Well, I mean, if you look at a guy like MGK, the reason he popped off wasn't because he's a talented artist. It's because he built up that lace-up movement that picked up the momentum.
Yeah.
But yo, I just I give this shit a 4 on 5. Why? Because it is not something I really would ever listen to again on a random. It would just be annoying to have there.
Fair.
Hear it building up, and then I don't know, Overkill or something would come on, and it would just be very strange to go into thrash
Yeah.
metal following that intro. However, it was a cool one, and a lot of intros suck. So good on you, Nas. 4 on 5.
I also gave it a 4 on 5. I thought it was a really unique, different sound. It was different from anything else I'd ever heard. But I thought it was kind of weird at the same time. It wasn't really a song, right?
No, fair enough.
But I
Chris?
think, you know what, I think that's why, I think that specific reason is why I gave it a 4 on 5, because it wasn't a real song, but the fact that he
But it
made a
was.
conversation with a beat and somehow the conversation follows the beat, it
It's
was
true.
like,
Yeah.
It's as good as an intro will probably ever
Yeah,
get from me.
yeah.
But yo,
But I get you. Don't
Okay.
worry, I get you.
It's just
Bump
something.
it.
Something that you said actually reminded me of something we completely forgot to mention that makes Illmatic like hyper noticeable, right? Is the first actually employ the use of multiple producers from different crews. And the irony
and
of what you were saying because of how it's so much about the crew.
Yeah.
But it was all New York.
And Jungle is featured on it. AZ or AZ, he's also involved in this, like one of their friends. And Jungle is his brother. Fun fact.
I did not know that.
Whoa.
Yeah.
This is why
Whoa.
Bonnie's here, man. She's going to just go look for the shit that we would never even think to care about.
Yep. And later on, we're going to meet his father.
People who were like really featured on this album were DJ Premier, Large Professor, Q-Tip, and Pete Rock.
I have a fun fact about Large Professor.
However, this song was not produced by any of those four people. It was produced by Nas and Faith, somebody who I read about on the wiki page.
Faith N?
Yeah, that person who was involved in the production of actually finding Nas and getting him involved with the album. So, nice. Yo, Bonnie,
Yes.
what is the next song?
New York State of Mind.
Foes, y'all know my stilo, with or without the airplay. I keep some E and J, sitting bent up in the stairway, or either on the corner betting grants with the CeeLo champs, laughing at.
Honestly, I have never heard a tale of paranoia and erratic thinking. Like, I felt like I was inside of his head. His flow is immaculate. Nothing we heard before this song was a classic, in my opinion, in the entire quest so far. Not one song. Not a single Tupac song that we had, at least on All Eyes on Me, stacked up against New York State of Mind. That is how strong this fucking track is. The beat is just perfect. And I don't even like New York beats, and it's perfect.
It's more than that. It's what I have to agree with what you were saying, like being inside of his mind. It takes you to a place of actually being in New York. Like, I was walking down the street, I was walking home, and I was listening to it, and it's like listening to it, getting into it, and looking out at your own world. It's like you kind of envision a different perspective of your world as his for a quick moment. That's how deep I got into the track.
Wow.
But it is super epic.
All right, Bonnie, I guess it's your turn to give us the insight.
Well, I thought it was pretty awesome. Really loved this song. Really great sound. I loved like the jazzy feel to it. Which is an influence from his father. So he's got like a lot of interesting influences in his life, and that's what he kind of like puts into his music, which is really cool. You're kind of seeing his world, seeing what's going on. He's telling you what happens in New York. People are doing drugs. It's a life of crime, like for him and like where he grew up, and that people are on drugs, specifically crack. And yeah, he calls it the rotten apple, the typical New York image that we see. So he's kind of saying it's not the greatest place for him and his friends.
It's just like if you really picture yourself being there and the way he puts it down, it's like you just picture somebody where none of this even phases him. So it's this whole
But can you
crazy
expect it to
picture.
phase him? No, I mean, this is
Well, that's the
life.
thing, man,
that
is
was
that-
life back then.
I feel like what he's going with is y'all were in the projects while I was in hell. And that's what he's trying to sell. Like, he's trying to make it clear that whatever you guys have ever seen, he is so real that this is the only way he can survive. But the whole way through it, he just sounds smart. Like, the thing that really bamboozled and impressed me about the entire situation is you hear these kinds of songs put on by a lot of people.
Yeah.
But Nas wrote some Edgar Allan Poe-like poetry to the flow.
Yeah.
The wordplay, and this is basically true for literally all the songs on this album,
Every track.
is like Eminem doesn't look as impressive after listening to Illmatic, to be honest. And I'm not saying that Eminem didn't do it. Eminem did it faster and he did it in different rhythms, but it's like you can definitely see how it was impossible for Eminem to get to that flow without listening to this album.
No, that is a statement. That is because
All of the way he combined the syllables and packed it together, it was really impressive how many words he found to rhyme and ways to make shit rhyme. And
But I mean, they're also in different tiers though. Like Nas is very still conscious about what he raps. Eminem, dope ass rapper.
Right. So
Yeah, that's true.
Nas gets put down as one of the top 5 greatest of all time, and Eminem rarely makes the list. Eminem is one of those, look, I've come to see that Eminem is every pop person's favorite rapper, and then when you delve into hip-hop, he's way less impressive. And Nas, whereas he's not famous later on, at this album, is truly next level amazing. Like, this shit's a 5.
Well, he's a real poet.
This
He's
shit's
really great.
a 5.
What's a 5? Are you?
This song is a 5.
This song is a 5. No,
Yeah.
just the storyline behind it is very, very intriguing, very interesting. Again, you have to really take a moment to really think about where he came from to really understand it.
Yeah. Because it has a very New York
You know what's really
sound.
interesting about what you just said? I don't even think you need to know where he came from. You just listen to this song, and you now know where he came from.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
And,
Fair. That
okay.
is true. That is true.
Look, New York State of Mind isn't even a single, and it's a perfect fucking song. I can't find a flaw in it. And Bunny?
5 on 5.
Okay. What's next?
Life's a bitch.
Doing years in the hundreds, I switched my motto. Instead of saying fuck tomorrow, that buck that bought a bottle could have struck the lotto. Once I stood on the block, loose cracks produced stack.
Bunny, go.
I love this song.
Straight off the bat.
Yeah, it's a really great song. Life's a bitch and then you die. And that's just what he's talking about. And I think the fact that death is so common in his world around him, even like with young people, so he's seeing that, and he knows that even he could die at any point just based off of his skin color, where he lives, what he does, the money that he's making, everything. And so he knows that he has precious time.
Well, actually, it's funny because at the end of Nas's verse, he goes, "Time is Illmatic, keep static like wool fabric, pack a formatic to crack your whole cabbage." And the verse ends, and it's like kind of alludes to a message of like death could just happen
Right in the middle.
anytime. Like, it's not even just inevitable. It's like, and it's just kind of left you dead inside. You're like, whoa, that's it. That is it. And then the beat comes back, and then you're like, okay, nice. But I want to talk about AZ for a little bit.
Hold on a second.
Whoa.
I think you waited all day knowing that you were going to come up on this camera and spit some Nas.
Yes.
You prepared.
I'm not even gonna lie, dude. I've been listening to the song.
That was so ready to go. Like, you were as boom and jumped
There
in.
it is.
Dude, it's very inspiring. Just to take a moment, a little tangent. This album is very, very inspiring.
AZ stood right up next to Nas in a perfectly delicious kind of way. I don't know who the fuck AZ is, so if you guys know who he is.
He's just one of his friends.
He's one of his boys. He's using Old English, British English somewhat. And the way he's using it is just very fantastic. His flow's on point, his thing. But there's not really much about him. He's just one of the close homies.
But he's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't really do much with him, though. He's like on that song only.
It's just sometimes you find out that even though people can rap, for some reason they don't want to be rappers.
Pretty sure he
There's something that's crazy
an
that
album
like
signing after this, just from that one verse.
he probably got an offer. But there's something.
No,
that,
I read it.
okay, fine. Look at that.
Getting schooled, Holden.
There was one thing that y'all just kind of missed, I found, in this song that I thought was particularly fascinating. It's one of the first rap songs I've heard that adequately contextualize why somebody would have a lust for money and then put into perspective the difficulty of getting over that lust for money and to put it towards different things.
Yep.
And for me, that was the truly profound part of this song that really makes it stand out. Because there's a lot of songs like it. But nothing is so profoundly, like, how many layers are in this? This entire album is like the onion from Shrek, and there's layers, and you just peel them off. And
it just keeps going. But it's so deep. It's so deep.
I guarantee you that if I listen to this again tomorrow, I might find a new message in this. And still, I fucking really like this song, man.
But isn't that the point of music, though? Isn't that like kind of his point, to always find a new message, a deeper meaning within the tracks? I felt like I got that vibe from him.
Well, from his point of what he wanted to do, yes. Is that the point of music? Well, no. I can tell you there are plenty of songs that are very, very like, this is what it is, such as My Neck, My Back is very clearly intended to be one thing about one subject and to elicit a single emotion. It just, you can't interpret that in any different way.
Fair.
Oh, there's a fun fact about this as well that I read. That Nas actually left his rhyme book that he would write all his rhymes in on the train while on the way to the studio to record this song. And then I think somebody actually returned it to him after I think the album came out.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
I would.
So, are you saying that he basically freestyled the entire?
Well, no,
listen?
dude. You're
Well,
not
no,
gonna show up
probably
to
not.
the.
I'm pretty sure he knew his
Like,
words.
this is an era of music where it wasn't exactly like now, where like studios are dirt cheap and you can show up and spend 12 hours, spend $150 and have a song. This is like you had to show up ready to record, so it took as little time as possible. And maybe they did spend all day in, and maybe whatever. But Nas, with the level of intricate perfection this verse is delivered on, this is like he took his time and knew it. So he probably just knew the track by heart and just happened to have his rhyme book, because you know.
It just sucks, and life's a bitch. Goes to prove it once again.
So yeah, 5 on
Nice
5.
wordplay.
5 on 5 again.
Bonnie, what'd you give it?
5 on 5.
Word, 5 on 5 as
Yeah.
well.
Awesome.
Oh, and here, this is the song where we met his father, Olu Dara, the famous jazz musician. So that's him playing, I believe, the trumpet.
That's really cool.
Yep. So it's nice that he's got his friends and he's got his family, and that's why it sounds so good.
I feel like Bonnie could find a way to make anything about hip hop wholesome and good if she really tried.
And
We're gonna
nice.
have to give her some Too Short one day and see how she handles that.
Oh my god, I'm very interested to see what she's gonna think.
Oh,
Life's a Bitch is actually a single before we move on. It is the 3rd single released on April 19th with the album.
But no video.
Yeah, I've noticed there's a trend of this era where MTV wouldn't really air your shit if you had the word bitch in the title of your song.
Or practically any swear
But then,
word.
you know,
Yeah.
so the next track is also a single. It is the 4th single off the album. It came out May 31st, 1994 with a video. This song is called The World Is Yours.
Cruising in a 6 cab, I'm on tarot deep, I can't call it. The beats make me falling asleep, I keep falling, but never falling 6 feet deep. I'm out for presidents to represent me.
Apparently a Pete Rock beat is like the equivalent of getting a Kanye beat from Nas's perspective of this song. And so he took this shit like super fucking seriously. And so yeah, this is Pete Rock. I know I forgot the other producers on the other songs, but fuck it, everyone knows about Illmatic. I fucking like every song in general that shows people applying the idea of wisdom, the optimism that you can achieve anything in life, and employing a quasi-realistic positivity in that it's done while understanding the hurdles and obstacles. This is a very poetically deep song. It's got a very funky ass nice beat. I fucking loved it a lot.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I mean, you already know just by like the beginning of the song that it's going to be a powerful message, because he's comparing himself to Gandhi, and like, well, I don't know if he's comparing himself to Gandhi, but he talks about Gandhi, and then he compares his addiction to making rap music and to his poetry to like an addiction to drugs. And he doesn't want people to do drugs, so he wants people to like make music or be involved in the arts or something, I guess, and you know, go for that and stay clean. And so he's kind of trying to expose the world that he grew up in and what he sees,
but like,
to like the rest of the world.
But in a way where you can still overcome even though you've come from this place, right? Like
That's
feel
more
like,
what I felt.
because like I feel like he creates that
them.
whole context, and it's like, yo, listen, we're not all bad. We can achieve. We can. You know what it was? Something you said on the last review is this idea of asking his community to be better.
Yeah.
And that's what I felt was the crux of this song. It's like, look.
I think that was the crux of the entire album.
No.
Well, I think
No. Because there's like New York State of Mind is not be better. It's this is my reality.
Yeah, but I mean
And
that's
then
hold on.
Life's a
If you
Bitch
think
is
of it,
not
hold
be
on.
better. It's
Hold on. If you think about it though, like most rappers, and what I've noticed from a lot of the old school rappers and a lot of the classic albums, it's a lot of this is what you live in, so this is what you should be doing.
Right,
And it
but-
feels like, you know what, he did it in the song. Like, he's got the conversation for the Genesis first, and then he turns around and he goes to My State of Mind, and that's like
I can
explaining.
see how you're saying that the point of Illmatic as a whole is that, yes, but you just can't tell me that New York State of Mind is a song with the point being be better.
No, but
the theme
you're
of that
actually
song is
wrong.
different.
I disagree. It could be a point of being better because he's slapping you in the face with what's really
If I'm
like,
not mistaken,
how you're supposed to live.
he ends the
So
third
it's like-
verse with, I'm down to commit crimes. That's my New York State of
Yes.
Mind. Did you give The World Is Yours?
Well, I end up giving it a 4 on 5 actually.
What?
It was a great track and everything. I still felt a little.
This shit is a 5 on 5, Chris.
That's okay.
Well, I'll be the happy medium. I gave it a 4.5. But because I thought it was a great song, I really liked the piano in it. It's a positive message. But I found that Nas's last verse was not as strong as the rest of them.
Okay, that's fair. I still 5 on 5. This song is too good. Like I could listen to it all day. 5, which is halfway through the album, just happens to be called
Halftime.
This is the first single on the album released back in 1992. That's over 2 years before the fucking album even came out. Interesting anecdote about the beat. Mr. Busta Bus himself happened to be offered this beat. I think it was Large Professor.
Yep.
And Busta Bus turned it down, heard Nas's version, and said, "I'm a fool. I should have taken that beat." And I thought it was great. First time I heard this song, I genuinely gave it a 4 because my final grade. That's why I'm dropping it now. Because you know what? Didn't make the strongest first impression on me, and you could tell that it's like not as polished is the right word for it. It's a little grimier,
Yeah.
a little less thematic, a little more ego braggy, but it's still deep poetry and excellent flows. But then put it on again this morning because I wanted to give it a good, extra chance.
You always gotta do it before the review, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Never changed a rating because of it before, but this time I had to change the rating because when I listened to it again, I was like, "What the fuck's wrong with me? This is really good." Like I had to go pull up the Spotify and verify which song it was to make sure, and I was like, "Fuck, eh?" And I like this one, man. This is a really great track.
It's really amazing. I like the flow he uses. I like the storytelling behind it.
Storytelling? I felt like there was an absence of a story.
Not
in this
like
one.
storytelling, like a whole like thing you gotta picture. But I meant like there's some type of story anyway.
Well, there's like allegories.
He's kind of just telling you
poetry,
about stuff in his
but
life.
I felt it was more or less him bragging with poetry, and it was very much.
I don't know. I
a
kind of
skill
always
song about rapping.
I think the thing is that for that album, I just kind of got this vibe of like always depicting as someone else. So I always kind of took every song as a story. Maybe that's just me, but
where's the story in this song?
I don't think I meant story. I think I just meant the image behind what he's talking about and how he's doing him and he's doing what he wants to do to succeed and grind.
That's the poetry of the music, dude. That's the literal, that's the various metaphors and shit he drops into his rhymes that makes it stand out.
And he's doing it really well. For a 20-year-old, he's doing it really well.
Yeah,
he's
that's
20.
for sure.
No, because he was 20 on the rest of the album. He's 18.
Wait, what?
Think about it, man.
Oh, yeah,
this is
it's
2
true.
years earlier.
Oh.
So he's not even 20 at this point. I give this a 5 on 5 at the end of the day. It's hard to even give more notes on it. It's just really amazing
You
flows.
have to just go check it out. What did you think of the music video?
I don't remember which one this one was.
It's just
this is... Man, look, unless there's a real point to the music video, every music video in the 90s of rap music is the fucking same. It's guys walking around with other guys. Sometimes there's girls, usually in their hood.
With a boombox.
A lot of this going on. Sometimes there's chains. Sometimes... Look, I mean, it was cool that he put the Queensbridge area on the map. And
He mentions it a lot
very
in a lot
much
of his songs.
Showcased the hood that
area,
he came from.
Yeah.
He
And apparently it has had the most famous or successful people come out of it by cubic foot or something like that.
It was one of the harshest projects, if I understand it.
But there was a lot of people shoved into one area, so maybe
Mobb
that's also
Deep
why.
came from there, and a few other people. But yeah, no, it was. I've looked at the wiki page of the list of people who've come from there.
I gave it a 5 on 5.
Well, I thought the beginning sounded like Jingle Bells.
What?
Because it's like ting 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 ting. It sounds like Jingle Bells.
Okay.
And so at first, and I did the same thing as Holden. The time I listened to it, I originally gave it a 3.5, and after listening to it a few more times, I've now given it a 4. So it went up.
What?
Yeah.
Not satisfied. No.
Well, it's just kind of
Answer is not
It's just sort
satisfactory.
of
Look,
exactly like you said, bragging
okay.
about what he likes.
Yeah,
he
but
likes to smoke weed. He likes
See, that's
fancy
part of
shoes.
the culture, though, right? Like, the thing about this song that stood out to me is how everything else is a little more thematic based on this perception of what's going on. And then there's this song, which is honestly just like a commentary on... It's like his response to hip-hop at the time, which is part of his reality.
Yeah.
And
He's just saying this
he's
is
very
his life
on it.
now.
Is this the one where he talks about how he didn't rap back when he should have because he was kind of scared, and then he started rapping?
Yeah.
Humility was really cool, and it was very much like he was writing a song that was more or less how hip-hop was composed. A lot of skills-based, I'm better because of type shit, and this is what he did. Mad poetry with it, and I have a high respect for its value on this album. And
No, it's really amazing. With that, we're going to take a trip down memory lane.
Of the beast and a blue Chrysler, I guess that means peace for niggas, no shiesty vice to just snipe ya. Start up the dice, roll the match for crap to CeeLo. With side bets, so roll the deuce, nothing below.
This song. Hold on, what'd you think?
I just thought it was like Nas sitting there on a park bench, and he saw 100 things happen and wrote them down with
Yep.
one of the most insane, complex, amazing flows. Like, Nas has the Nas flow. And it's kind of always the Nas flow. But it's never quite the same Nas flow on any song. Sometimes it's not even static in the same verse. The way he breaks up his own rhythms and gets interesting with it is a recurring theme on this album, on every song. And he did it better here than I think I've heard in any other song. And I just felt it was so fluid, and it was cool. I could picture him sitting there. I could picture what he was seeing. It was a lot of imagery.
Yeah.
No,
That's
the
for sure.
imagery was intense. I think as well, I like how he called it memory lane and sitting on the bench, because it's the iconic moment where people take a moment to think back and reflect. I feel like he depicted the current situations that are happening in this park, and then relating them to old experiences that happened with him to allow us to understand the connection between what's going on how he's walking down memory lane. That was really, really cool.
I thought it was really cool. Same sort of feel. You're getting a view of the life that he grew up in, and he's kind of saying a lot of bad things happened. It wasn't the happiest, and it wasn't the safest place. But there's a lot of murder, there's a lot of crime, there was a lot of shootouts. And at the end of the song, he pours a beer to the people that he knew that have died growing up, and so he's just kind of going over and just saying this is what happened. But he also mentions the word of Christ. And so he's also very influenced by religion, and I think that that's kind of helping him get through a lot of things. And I think that he's, in like a sort of way, he's also preaching, kind of saying, maybe it helped me, maybe it can help you. And yeah, I think it was a really great song. I gave it a 4.5 on 5.
This shit's another 5. I don't understand how you guys keep taking points off. Like,
no, this shit's a
what's
5.
wrong
Why
with this
are you
song?
getting angry? I gave it a 5. I'm with you.
4.5.
You get mad at her. I'm with you.
Where did it lose the 0.5?
Well, I don't know that I would want to listen to it every day.
Is that what makes it a 5?
Yeah, like I want to listen to it all the
basically-
time.
But that's
oh my God,
logical.
it's my
Wait,
favorite
if-
song.
if-
So
logical.
basically,
If
the
we're
Lion
going
King
by-
soundtrack, some fucking occasional
Yeah.
80s jams, these are the only 5s in humanity?
Correct.
And Bounce Back by Moves by Big Sean. Seriously,
I like
I wake up in the morning, I got the moves. I make titties move.
That's not what you hear first thing in the morning.
So the next track is One Love.
This song was cool. This song was particularly different. It did not carry a message of life could be better. It did not give it. It was more of a, dude, I appreciate that you are in jail, and I am trying to show you that love and affection, even though your girl won't do it. Telling you what's going on in the hood. That video. Now, I didn't care about any of the other videos on this album. That's why I haven't really talked about any of them, because they weren't noteworthy to me.
Fair enough.
This video, the scene where he's reading the letter and freaking out in jail, showing it to the boys, seeing Nas, seeing the kids, seeing it all, like the way he's talking about those child gangsters and the posse, and like the kid gets arrested at the end. And this song is another piece of journalism and true wonder that I don't know that I ever would have, I couldn't imagine that life. and now Nas is giving me a glimpse of what it is.
I had to listen to it a couple times, really understand what was going on, and to really get the glimpse of the light. While watching the music video, it was kind of like the whole story was that you ended up in jail and now your son's doing such and such, and that's why the guy in jail was getting mad. That's what I kind of took from that.
Yeah, I got that.
Like, it looked like he was explaining to the guy in jail that, you know, such and such or whatever.
I think the son's name was Jake. He mentions Jake a couple of times.
Well, this is, like, I took it like Nas was writing to his homeboy in jail, like his close friend, because the beginning...
No, but they make it sound like everybody needs to, like, take care of Jake. Like, kind of, like, make sure he stays out of trouble.
Well, because,
so
like,
that's
look
at,
it, right?
His son.
Like, look it. So he's talking about his boy. He's like, you should have ducked back into my crib instead of the cops grab you. Then he talks right away about how his girl's fucking around with the other people, but she's pregnant or he just had a kid or something.
Yeah.
So there is a kid in question. The son is described, and it's because the girlfriend's fucking around with the next crew. So I don't know if I missed something else, but I thought it was basically him writing letters to his pal over time as shit was just kind of transforming, and it was just snapshots of these moments that were happening. And so, yeah, the characters all stay the same, but it's because he's writing to his boy. Like, I mean, I put 100 in your commissary because you were always there. Like, fuck it, you're my... You know, one love. And then Q-Tip comes in, one love, one love, one love. What? And yeah, but I thought that was it. It was just like 3 letters to his boy, and man, 5 on 5. Like, again, 5.
No, it was a 5 on 5 track.
I know I sound a bit like a broken record,
but really, I actually, now that you explain it like that, I actually kind of see that more, because now that I'm thinking about it, it couldn't be his son, because the guy at the end, the kid at the end in the gang ends up pointing the gun at his girlfriend or the girl he's got the baby with. So I was like, that's a little confusing.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the video. We're talking about, like, the song came before the video, right?
No, of course. But you want to assume that the video kind of resembles the music, the
video
audio.
Is a dramatization of a song. In some cases, it relates to it.
Artistic interpretation.
And I enjoyed how this video related to it. But the song is always what the song's about, and everything else is kind of around it.
Fair enough.
Anyway, perfect song. And did you? No, Bonnie, here she comes. Well, you see, it was a really swell song, and here's all the reasons why it should be a 5, but there's no way I'd listen to this every day.
Well, it's true. I gave it a 3 on 5. I thought it was a good song, but I didn't really find it that captivating. It was kind of one of the ones I wanted to keep skipping over.
I listened to it again this morning and liked it just as much. Baby, you're embarrassing me on the internet again.
Sorry.
I'm embarrassed.
See? Join in with me and share in the embarrassment.
I don't have a choice. This is being recorded.
Okay, we have to move on. We have to move on.
You know what?
Look, it's okay. You're forgiven.
No, you see, all right.
One time for your mind, motherfucker.
The honey at spends the night for sexing, keep lubrication, lifestyle protection, picking up my stereos, remote control quickly, Ron G's in the cassette deck.
Recording a video about condoms very shortly, and so the one thing I noticed about this song, he uses rubbers. He advocates the use of rubbers.
One particular brand.
And
lifestyle
Nas,
protection.
I had to write that down. It was the most noteworthy thing in this song to me.
I got from it that the entire song was just a lot of food for thought. Like, just, well, here, think about this, and think about that, and think about this. And it was just really cool how he tried to just tell you so many things in one track that wasn't so surrounded by drugs and guns and this. It was just a very general concept of things to just think about. And
if I understand correctly, it was like a deliberate thing, and he just showed up and didn't really care as much about this song.
Really?
In terms of the recording, he just literally went in, said whatever, and it turned into this, and it was great. No. I mean, probably a bit more deep. Like, Bonnie's like, okay, you're both wrong. Here's what really happened.
Oh, here we go. Okay, Bonnie.
Well, I'm just telling you from, like, my point of view. So
I read that on Wikipedia in the way that you corrected me before. That's what happened.
Okay, that's fine. And you could tell that he didn't put very much effort into the song, and that's why I gave it a 3 on 5. Okay, it's sort of like the kind of song that you just sit and listen to when you're high, because there's so many things and so many thoughts, and you're like, okay, what is he talking about? And it's just kind of like, what's the point of this song?
I have to say that lyrically, I thought it was tight. It was another flexing. It was he's
a great poet.
Of this
I'm
song
not saying
is
that.
To,
I
like,
just think there was too much.
It's the peacock's flow. Because this is a time of hip hop where what you wrote and how you rapped it mattered just as much as the other stuff. Whereas nowadays it's who is producing your album. If you must do shit,
Well, he does talk about real things. He talks about like when he gets tempted kind of to go back and sell drugs again, but he knows that that's not the life that he should be like living. So he does talk about like serious things, but it just wasn't my favorite.
The quality difference on this song compared to the rest of this album is genuinely noticeable, especially considering the level of intricate detail, like the attention to detail on the rest of this album is incredible. He didn't have to rely on doubles or backing tracks because what he wrote stood so well. And then this song came on, and it's great. It's just not an epic track that I could listen to every day. It's a 4 on 5.
What was your score?
Did you just agree with him?
Well, no, I gave it a 3 on 5.
So no, we didn't agree.
Oh, okay. No, I gave it a 4 on 5 as well. I agreed.
The next track is
Represent? What?
Represent.
Even come through in helicopters. I drink a little vodka, spark a L and hold a Glock for the fronters. Wanna be ill niggas and spot runners, thinking it can't happen till I trap them and clap them.
While listening to this song, I had this epiphany.
What?
Epiphany.
In 1994, Guess jeans were that cool that they are the only brand I can really notice on this album mentioned. Guess jeans. Like,
What?
You didn't hear the line about Guess jeans on this one?
Oh, I'm sure I did.
Oh, look, Guess wasn't that cool. Like, it wasn't hip hop rappers wearing it cool back in the day, was it? Like, I don't know. That was baffling to me. I picture it being like a forgotten brand up there with Parasuco.
Oh my god.
Oh, yeah.
And I know this track is fucking amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, fucking amazing.
Represent.
He really represents New York. He really represents Queensbridge.
This is just New York State of Mind Part 2 and just as good. Like, and just as good. I felt everything I felt on that song, but it was like, here's more to the story. I'm not done yet.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, he loved it. I mean, I love that he just is telling us more about where he's from. He's saying, that he's leaving behind a legacy in, where he's from, and people, like, he's talking to a bunch of people who are from there, and he's proud of the people who are living the real fucking life, if you will, whatever that means.
So as we could say, it's like a proper part 2 to New York State of Mind.
Yeah, exactly. So it's pretty cool. I liked it, and he is representing change. He wants to be, he does want to be better, and I think that he's seeing that rapping is making as much or more money than selling crack did, and it's helping more people than selling crack did. So I think that he's seeing, like, be that change, go and do something else.
But I think it's at this point in his career or his life is the changes happen to him.
Yeah.
He has been given that break, and he no longer has to be in that circumstance quite the same way.
Yeah, but like you can't just give that. You can't just get that opportunity just like that.
Well, no. I mean, that's not what I'm going. I meant, like, from the point of view as someone who started from that world and has figured out a way to get out. He's saying this is it, man, and this is a chance to not live that life. It's not the only way.
True.
Yeah.
And either way, 5 on 5. Like, there's no question.
Straight 5 on 5.
And
4 on 5.
It ain't hard to tell.
It ain't.
Nas is like the Afrocentric Asian, half man, half amazing. Cause in my physical, I can express through song. Delete stress like Motrin, then extend strong.
my entire thoughts on this song. Nas is half man, half amazing. It's as simple as that. 5 on 5. I have nothing. Like, I can't just suck his dick with my words anymore. It's ridiculous. I've been doing it the entire podcast because it's just been that fucking perfect. The beat is jamming. Like, I really fucking loved it. It is perfect. Okay, moving on.
Okay.
Bonnie, go.
Well, I liked it. I was really excited by the Michael Jackson Human Nature undertone.
Hold on. She's not fucking around. She genuinely was really excited when she figured that out.
Yeah, it's true. And also, I mean, I do think that it's kind of interesting as well. I mean, he does mention that he liked Jackson 5, and he also mentions MJ in a few other songs as well. And at that time, this is 1994, so it's when Michael Jackson was kind of not at his peak. So it was kind of interesting that he was bringing him back into the spotlight and kind of thanking him for maybe,
Well, it's also
Bringing
He's not really
rap-
bringing back.
It's
He's
not
kind of
bad.
like
I
bringing
mean,
him into.
this whole album.
like showing that he's still a relative.
But it's not
like,
even just
influence.
that. It's more that this whole album is halfway told from the perspective of Nas as a kid as he jumps back and forth. And
Yeah.
there's no way that a child Nas didn't listen to the dope MJ.
Yeah, I mean, he said he loved the Jackson 5, so I thought it was cool. So I thought that was really exciting. He mentions Buddha again, which
Okay,
is done
no.
in a few times.
Buddha isn't the god or the statue, in case you were...
Why? What is he talking about?
Buddha
Buddha
is
is referring
herbs.
to a sack of buds
Oh.
that makes you feel a certain level of serenity. So every one of those Buddha references...
Oh, so it's not about religion?
No. So when Bonnie was saying religion before, what she really
but he
meant
really was
was...
mentioning Christ and a whole bunch of other things too. So it wasn't just Buddha, but he's mentioned Buddha a few times, and that's why I thought that maybe it was something to do with like religion.
No, it's weed.
Okay.
That's cute. That's cute. But
Oh, well.
what did you give it?
I gave it a 4 on 5.
Not even a 5?
No, I mean it wasn't. It was
not
more
gonna
about the
listen to it
message.
every day.
It was more about the message and the lyrics. So he had again strong poetry, but as much as I loved the song, it wasn't like I don't know. It wasn't my favorite.
The question here is, what do you guys think of it being like a last song though?
Look,
like doing
on an album where all you've done is tell the tales of where you come from. To end it with, it ain't even hard to tell why I'm the best because I'm half Nas, half amazing.
But that's why I'm like he doesn't
is
even get it. He's like, how am I not in jail for the things that I've said and showing you my world and like exposing this? And she's like, how am I not in trouble?
This is
like,
the
that's what he's
perfect
saying.
way to end Illmatic. Like, frankly, this is a great example of an album where, look, it only had 9 real songs on it, right?
yeah.
And somehow is
Short and
still one
sweet.
of the greatest things I've ever fucking heard musically. And had it gone longer, it probably would have just been B-sides and fillers, and he ended it at the right spot.
Absolutely.
No,
Absolutely.
And
the
fuck,
song
man.
the song for me is a 5 on 5. It is truly amazing. I like the funkiness in the beat. I like the energy that's in the beat. I like the dynamic, how he switches it up all the time. Nas is always really great at that. There is a little bit of chopping at some points, but I've now learned that that's actually kind of really prevalent in rap.
Basically, every good rapper is going to do what Tech 9 does in some way or another.
I'm slowly
Tech 9 just does entire verses of it.
I'm slowly losing hope.
Man,
Anyway, the point being-
Hold on. You gotta go check out some Naughty by Nature if you want to talk about some fucked up rhythms. I've had more trouble with Naughty by Nature than I have had with Tech 9. Tech 9 is just fast. Okay, I think that's enough talking about the individual songs. It's time for that moment of album rating.
Oh, here we go.
Bonnie?
But wait, before we just do it quickly, what did you think of the entire album though?
Well, that's the point of the album rating.
But do it after. Don't do it now.
Well, I
Okay.
think the entire people can know how I feel about the album at this point. All I've done is say what I feel about everything on this album. I think everything on the exception of that one song I gave a 4 to is perfect.
All right.
I thought it was really great. I thought it was one of those kinds of songs, albums that you would drive around in your car listening to on a cassette, and because you can't skip the songs, so it's good enough to listen to all the way through. And so you could just flip it, and then just keep on going, and it's great. And then you could just drive around because it's 1994. And I don't know. I thought it was really great. My overall rating was 4.1.
Woo! Bonnie gave this a classic
It's a classic rating.
Chris, what did you give it? Chris?
Well, actually, I ended up giving it a 4.9, except for that 1/4 song. It's clearly.
I gave it really close. It was 4.8 because for me the intro is not a 5
Wow.
on 5. But that's a standard. So like, Tupac was here. We had Slick Rick was around here. Public Enemy a little lower on the list.
Yeah.
Straight Outta Compton back up here. Now we're here. Now we've set the precedent.
Such good messages. Great lyrics.
And you know what we have next week, right? We have debatably a guy who can compete with Nas for this fucking spot.
Really?
We talking about the Notorious B.I.G. next week.
I'm fucking excited.
I'm excited to learn about him.
So, thanks for being with us again. Criticisms, corrections, all that shit in the comments. Like, subscribe, shares.
Hit us up on Twitter.
Love
like
us.
tweeting.
Quest.
Convince Bonnie to go back on Twitter and use it and tell us
Come on,
in the
Bonnie.
comments.
Come on, Bonnie. Get on Twitter. Get on Twitter.
But.
And so, yo, peace until next Friday.
Easy, guys.